Hello Internet, welcome to Making Money. My name's Eric and this is your Daily Dollar, our financial segment where I give you one lesson every day to help you reach your financial goals. We talk about a lot, and I bring that up a lot too. I mean, obviously we talk about a lot. We talk about finance. We talk a ton about finance. And I have given you guys, at this point, 76 lessons on finance. Believe it or not, we are past the 75 mark. Actually, I think we might be on 78, 79, somewhere around there. I've given you a lot. Today we're going to be talking about something that I had mentioned briefly at the very beginning of this series and in a couple videos along the way, but we're really going to focus on it today because it's so big it really deserves its own lesson. Today is all about rethinking the things that you have done. So what are we talking about when I say that? When we have looked at your financial goals, when we looked at your budget, all of these things were snapshots in time of your situation. It has been about 2 months now since we talked about budgets, since we talked about setting your financial goal. This is a Tollgate episode. This is an episode where you need to take a look at where you are compared to where you want to be and where you expect it to be at this point. Now, granted, when we're talking about financial goals, if we're talking about a long-term financial goal, 2 months may not have been enough time for us to really get a baseline, but for a lot of situations, 2 months is plenty of time. If we're talking about your monthly finances, you've got 2 solid months of data now to look back on and determine, is your budget really working? Are you taking in what you expect? Are you spending what you expect? If you haven't tracked it, this might be the time to stop and go back. 2 months isn't that bad if you're pulling information from past statements, whether that be credit cards, bank statements. So now might be the time to collect that data if you haven't been doing so already. This is kind of an important point because it will dictate how you move forward. This is almost as important as the beginning. Yeah, we set our initial goal. Yes, we figured out what we wanted to do, what our budget was going to be. But is it working? It's such a big question, and you really should do toll gates like this every few months, every so often, depending on what your lifelong goal is. If you have short-term goals, you should have shorter toll gates. If you have longer goals, it may make sense to toll gate every year or every 6 months, something like that. But you should be doing it because you need to see, is it working? We talked about the DMAIC process at one point in one of our videos with the whole Lean Six Sigma program. And the DMAIC process is great because when we take a look at each of those steps, and again, that's define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. If we take a look at each one of those, and we say, okay, we did the define phase already. We determined what our project was going to be, what our financial goal was going to be, exactly what we wanted from it. And it's been 2 months now, and you've had a good amount of time to really lock in on what your goal has been. The next stage would be to measure. And like I said, this might be a good time to go back and grab some measurements if you haven't been keeping track already. In the Excel lesson that we did, I highly recommend putting all of this information in Excel so you can really crunch it and get some data out of it. But now we're kind of in that measure phase. We've done the define, now we're going into measure and checking, what's our, granted we might have been best at measures normally for a baseline, analysis might be where we're at now. But my point is that between each of these major steps, you should be toll gating. Between define and measure, you should toll gate. Between measure and analyze, you should toll gate. So in your financial journey, in your goal, you should be toll gating. Is it working? Is there a need for a change? That is today's lesson. That is what you should be doing today. Take a look at your finances, take a look at your goal and the metrics that you have so far on it. Are you on track? Do you need to change anything? Has your financial situation changed since you started this project? Have you started making more money? Do you have more debt? Whatever the situation is, this is a time to reflect. So Thank you as always for watching. I do appreciate it. I will see you guys tomorrow for another lesson. I hope you are enjoying this series. If you are, feel free to subscribe. Always appreciate it. I am interested. Have you been keeping track of your metrics so far in the last 2 months? If so, let me know in the comments below. How's it looking? You doing good? You can hit me up on Twitter, the link in the description. And I said it already, but I'll say it again. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next lesson. See you.